Whew, we're cooking. We are absolutely cooking. Look, guys, there is so much to go through, and I'm gonna do my best because each one of these areas could be hours and hours of content, and there's gonna be a bunch of other people that are making videos on the back of this. So I'm going to continue to keep it as straightforward and as honest as possible, which thankfully in this one, it's gonna take a little bit of me going in the computer, showing you some things, more examples. I'll do my best to take this one slow, but I will be providing you a handful of templates and little calculators that I've been collecting over the years. But I wanna set the scene first. This is building a profitable promotion. It's gonna take math, it's gonna take focus, it's gonna take questions. You can use any GPT's AI you wanna, but you gotta trust it because this is where the money is made. So stick with me on this. There's a handful of promotional frameworks that I think you need to be honest with yourself about that. You need to be honest with the money outlay. You need to be honest with the amount of inventory that you have, but you also need to know that this is purely down to planning and sticking to the script until it gets to the point where you actually cannot follow it because something is wrong and the business is not working. That's a gut call you'll make. But if we can plan this correctly and have these nice conversations, let me show you some stats. Should you even participate in Black Friday? Maybe. Does your brand allow for it? Maybe. Does the margin allow for it? Potentially. Because we've been selling for the last couple of months, since January, years before that, we should have some understandings of what we can or cannot do. I'm gonna run through some scenarios, whether you're a pro, whether you're just starting out, whether you're just getting a little bit of a touch up, changing industries or what have you. I'm gonna try and give you some examples of where some of these brands are potentially they lie. Generally speaking, the majority of the discounts that you're gonna see or offers that you're gonna see for this Black Friday moment, usually around 20%. If it's less than 20%, most people are not going to opt in because they can already get that from giving you their email or SMS just to join a list. Now, I will say the most that I saw, which was last year, was Peloton in total. They did save up to about $1,000, the larger cost of product though. So the larger your product cost is, you can get away with saying up to a large amount, 70%. I would love for you to try dollars off. The more you give away, go straight to the dollars, people recognize it. You might not even do an offer. You might just continue to keep things business as usual. The conversion rates are going to lift because people wanted to buy a product already. A large majority of these people in 2023 and 2024 were doing it this way. And also, you can potentially choose select SKUs. Some SKUs that are your hero SKUs, some SKUs you might have more inventory of than others. You might just focus directly on those ones. It makes total sense, especially if you want to incentivize a consumer to kind of go ahead and take action there. Then you have a free shipping threshold, where a lot of the brands, especially if you want to keep the integrity, maybe you're a little bit more like Red Velvet ropes, you don't want to kind of give them major discounts, offering the free shipping, depending on what they're able to spend, is a nice look, easy, and it's a little bit to move them over the hump if they're on the edge. And lastly, or you have a couple other ones, a buy X, get Y gift. If I buy this phone, I'm gonna get the charger for it. If I buy this drink, I'm gonna get the case for it. These areas are something that keeps, again, the brand integrity intact and incentivize them if the margins make sense, if the free product makes sense. All the costs and cogs in, if that makes sense. I do enjoy a tiered gifting. If I spend X dollars, I get X gift, but that's just more communication that we have to do in the landing page and on the ad. I think it's pretty complex. So unless you have a lot of things going on, stick with the site-wide, stick with the buy more, save more. Be straightforward, clear is kind, clear is cash, go that direction. Generally speaking, two frameworks is if the margin is high enough, deeper discounts are more safe for you to play with. If the margin is low enough, probably focusing on bundles and increasing overall AOV, free shipping might be there, loyalty might be there. I didn't get to mention this at the beginning, but honestly, if you're pushing more subscription, which is kind of what we do, this is usually done on the back end. This is not usually done on the ads. It's not sexy enough to get someone to click and feel motivated unless you're doing a deeper discount on that specific subscription. Chances are they're gonna take it and cancel out of it. So I usually do not like to push a subscription offer during major promotional moments like this, where I can get them to spend more with a higher AOV and have a positive experience at a margin rate that I can afford. Now I'm gonna give you a list of different promotions and maybe some examples of brands that could be falling into this category. You might be able to identify with a couple of these. This first one, I called it the gas pedal. Acquire at scale. This is gonna be guys like the Gymshark, Glossier, Kylie's Cosmetics, high volume, tons of rev, tons of product, tons of cash. This is the person, you have strong cash, plenty of inventory, and you actually understand your conversion rate and LTV. This is where you should play with. Your North Star, what you care most about, how many new customers you're able to acquire at break even or just under your new customer CAC, cost to acquire a customer target, because you're gonna feel confident that you know your repeat rate here. I would say your guardrails, your KPI guardrails here is gonna be your new customer CPA is less than your contribution margin of your first product. That is a non-negotiable. Try not to lose money on this, even with a little bit of the discount here, even though we know you have the money. MER, your marketing efficiency ratio, total dollars spent to dollars earned, is less than your overall CAC target. Those are a lot of numbers. We're gonna put it right here for you guys to see it. But generally speaking, I do not want to go buy into a 2 or 3 lifetime value of a customer. So if a customer to me costs $20 to acquire and they're gonna spend $40 with me, I'm not willing to buy on a 3-month LTV just yet unless I feel confident in my LTV. Meaning if I bought them initially, they spent 40 bucks and they're gonna rebill or maybe potentially buy with me 2 more times. At the end of this is $120 in. I don't feel confident on my early days of spending against the $120. I don't have to. Now, if you know your numbers, if you feel confident, if you are this gas pedal brand, buy into the LTV, buy into your second repeat purchase rate, you're gonna give yourself way more dollars to spend and acquire way more customers. So if you're there, God bless, you're gonna crush it. Here's where I think your channel mix is going to live. This is going to live on Meta, most likely ASC campaigns. You're also gonna live with Google PMax. You're gonna let Google's AI do its thing. You're gonna do heavy prospecting early in October, all the way through the Black Friday moment. And this brand is going to be searched. People are gonna be talking about this. It's a great situation. What makes me nervous, things for you to pay attention to, is make sure that they're not an overwhelming uses of buy now, pay later. Could be an issue. Might not be, but it could be an issue. Keep aware of it. And making sure that we're watching contribution margin hourly, daily, and weekly. These areas, because it's a lot of spend. It's a lot of spend and you're buying to usually larger LTVs than just the day one break even. We wanna pay attention here. Please pay attention. So gas pedal, if this is you, you're gonna have an incredible Black Friday. And I hope you do. Next, we call these guys the piggy bank broke boys. This is who you are. You are cash constrained, potentially needing to maximize profit per every single order. No shade thrown. This is probably you outdoor voices as you guys just relaunched. Rove Concepts. Look, I'm not saying I love Rove Concepts, incredible pieces of furniture, but man, that's expensive. I don't think they can afford to do such deep discounts on this furniture specifically. This is where you might be standing. You might be limited with cash, being very conscious of the promos you're gonna be spending. Definitely self-funding this, not a bunch of money on the line. Not Outdoor Voices kind of coming on the way back. They have a little bit more money to play with, but they are very conscious. They are needing to be profitable on every single purchase, every single AOV. They're not looking to do deep discounts or liquidation. ROAS, break even, slightly profitable, continue to spend and acquire all these new customers because they do want to take and build this customer base so that they do get some repeat purchases in the next 60 days or before the end of the year. You're gonna be heavy email. You're gonna be heavy on the remarketing side. You're probably not prospecting during these moments outside of early October, maybe early November, but you're gonna be leaning heavily on this remarketing list. I'll say you're leaning on some of your affiliates and your partners. I think PR is probably a bigger play here. See if we can motivate them with deeper incentives for them to send for you or a couple more pieces of content. Lastly, be aware, you might have to move into a pivot of a shorter flash sale. This might be a Black Friday early moment, or this might actually be just waiting for the actual day and then going with a deeper discount. But you are focused on dollars. You'll still have a good time. It won't be as fun as the first group, but you'll still have a good time. This next one, I call you guys the drip drop boys. And here's why. You are light on inventory. You might have the margin, you might have the money to spend, but you don't have the product to sell. It's the worst scenario. I feel like I might be in this scenario right now with my company because we have long lead times. We need to make sure the ingredients are there. SKUs are ridiculous. Some are profitable, some are not profitable. I'm not expecting a major moment for us. This might be you. I'm trying to maximize profit per unit sold. Profit per product, that is where I really want to pay attention to. Brand equity means the most. I really don't want to piss off customers by overselling and not delivering on time. So I'm definitely more conscious here. And there's nothing wrong with this group, but I will say that this is the one that we want to be very aware of not pissing people off. So the risks overall is site-wide promo triggers, a lot of sellouts and customer frustration. Let's try to avoid that. If anything happens, pivot and go right to waitlist. Go right to, I wouldn't say buy now, pay later, but we've done a couple things on the site where we can kind of take cash, but communicate ahead of time saying that this is not going to be fulfilled for X amount of days. That is an active email update needed post-purchase. So be very aware if you're in that drip drop category. Good luck. Then we have the ship storms. These ones are, I do not envy any of the people that are building these types of businesses. You have operational or customer experience bottlenecks, heavy returns. This is unfortunately what happens around major moments around apparel. So you are probably sitting at Allbirds where your shoes and you have tons of different variations and SKUs and sizes, or you're like Frankie's Bikinis where people might not know exactly how this is going to fit them. The tops might be different from the bottoms might be different from the tops. I want to mix and match. This is a lot. You can sell within your means, but you have to bake in your cost of your potential return rate. This is another number as we go into building this out. This is a number that we do need to find of how expensive it is, fun than getting that return. You have to bake that into your overall cost and your margins. People sometimes do not. Your overall North Star though, CSAT, break-even profitability, heavy on the prospecting side, but most likely leaning towards remarketing, emails, and ads. Tactics, I think you can push cutoffs of when the sale is going to end. Just make sure you honor that cutoff because there have been a couple of new laws. I don't know if it's in effect, if they're talking about it. If you say the sale is ending, you can't run back sale extended again. You actually have to end it when you say you're going to end it. Unfortunate for most of us marketers, but that is a thing that I think customers will appreciate, you not lying. Last thing I think for risks, late deliveries. We cannot afford to have late deliveries or not baking in what the potential return rate is going to be. If anything goes wrong, you can kind of pivot into like discounts around gift cards or any digital goods or upsells for buy more, save later. Then you might be a velvet rope kind of brand. You're very premium. You don't want to play with anything. Price integrity is important to you. This might be the on-brand guys, the Patagonia team. Very luxury, making sure you're only having some strict warehouse relationships. So everything that you're doing on the D2C side, on the direct-to-consumer side, matches what's happening on the wholesale side. Very important to make sure that we do not piss off our partners. We also want to lean heavily into our brand ambassadors. This is a great time for them to kind of show off any of the new colorways, any of the new products. But this, generally speaking, is a site-wide discount, very easy to execute, or maybe some SKUs that you want to kind of move a little bit quicker. Think through your CRM, the VIP exclusivity, creators talking about it, and obviously some PR and own channels distribution. I think you can really win in this area. Then we have the forever fans. These are my homies. This is the subscription and LTV play, Dollar Shave Club, Breeze, HelloFresh. Our game is the subscription. So we do want to incentivize those to take it at a better rate because we know we have an incredible product and we know if they can stick with it, they're gonna love it. So we're okay allowing it, similar to what we were talking about when you have a lot of cash, buying into a different LTV. We're okay spending into this 3-month LTV, even sometimes a 6-month LTV if the AOV on the first purchase is high enough. I think here, our North Star is LTV to CAC, the lifetime value of that initial customer acquired, and our overall payback period. How fast can we get that back? This is the fun game to play. We love major moments because we usually get to spend a little bit more than most people because we have a lot more money that these customers spend with us over their lifetime. It's an incredible place to be. I will say though, you do have to have a first order incentive, usually a gift for us. You will have to have some sort of subscription bonus. Maybe it's a bonus month or a double up on the order. Prospecting is okay here if you're able to afford that initial cost to acquire that customer, plus the margin reduction on the subscription incentive, but we really need to know our numbers. We'll talk about that, but we really ought to be dialed in there. A couple of risks is if it's too expensive. If the discount's not deep enough and it's not sexy enough, some people might not be able to take action there. Think through and be more prioritized if you have to pivot towards a higher AOV bundle and move away from the subscription side. And we got a couple more. We have the channel Jenga. These are the brands that are pretty much marketplace heavy, wholesale heavy, but they do have some sort of D2C presence. Think of Anchor, Chargers, think of Harry's, Ghost Lifestyle. A lot of these offers are going to be participating on Amazon specifically. So I do think it's important for us to understand how does the channel harmony kind of play with each other, and do you want to mimic the sale that they can get? Or what a lot of brands tend to do is they just point everybody back to their Amazon, point everybody back to their Walmart side. All beautiful, all fine. And this also gives us the opportunity to run something unique on the D2C side. Limited SKUs, limited flavorway, limited collaborations. We can do those things on the D2C when we know that wholesale has the majority of our evergreen or our best-selling SKUs. Think through that one. That one might be an interesting play, and it might not be bigger than the other guys that have a direct D2C angle, but the wholesale marketplace is a great place to play because they already have the product. These are the rebound woes. So these are the people that have incredibly high return and category risk. I would say that we already talked briefly about this, but I do think Allbirds, ASOS, Revolve, so many SKUs, so many different margin profiles. This is a 20% off site-wide minimum. You're just doing a site-wide. You can kind of bucket it in different spend tiers. The more you spend, the more you save. I think that's the safest place for people to play with. Returns. This is the returns game. So please know that you have to bake this into your guide. This is the offer, build out the entire fit, free exchanges, no refunds, not refunds, free exchanges, not giving them refunds. paid return label. So you can really speak in, know that people are going to buy a lot, try it on and want to send it back. We want to make sure that we do specific, strict floor prices. If you're spending at this percentage, here's what you get off. Outside of this, pivot into just all your best performing SKUs. I think this is another one area. Our last two, this is Cash Me Outside. So this is profit recovery. Might be overstock experience. This is, again, we'll say a little bit of the outdoor voices and even potentially Everlane. You need to convert the inventory into cash to pay down any potential AP or any potential debts that you guys are gonna have. This one is, we need cash. So you are needing to do the margin calculator, but understand that you are basically liquidating to get as much cash as humanly possible. You're playing a different game. You're playing how much can I spend because how much you need to generate because you need to move units. I feel for you. Black Friday is never really fun when you're in this category, but I've been there, I've experienced this. You're gonna be going deep. It's gonna be a 70+% discount, and brand dilution is a real worry here. But you gotta do what you gotta do, business is business. And lastly, I'll call you are the Virgin Mary. This is your first Black Friday. This might be you. This is your first Black Friday experience. Maybe you're super early stage, and it's tough. You have limited data. You don't really know exactly what's happening and you wanna keep it as smooth as possible. My feedback directly to you, do a site-wide discount, simple numbers, simple margin. Try to build a bundle that will increase your natural AOV by 20 points. If you're at 50 bucks, can you get to 75? Can you get to 80? What can you bundle together? I will think you need to be spending on Meta. You'll be heavily prospecting. Organic posts as well as Google. I don't believe you need to be spending heavily on the Google side. Stick to Meta here. And then just don't overcomplicate it. Don't make it too unique. Don't try to do anything you're not fully accustomed to. Just participate. Participate at an area that you can measure. Now, once you understand where you fall into some of those categories, we actually need to understand, how do we build this? How do we build the margin? How do we build the understanding? Especially if you're a higher SKU business, you might have a bunch of different products or bundles that you want to sell. If you're a lower SKU, you probably have maybe one single bundle or one single product or groups of these products that you're going to sell, but we still need to understand like what the margin could potentially be. So here's how I think about this. We have three core areas and ideas that we always need to maintain. Contribution margin per order. That's the dollars left after discounts and all your other variable costs. I'm talking shipping, your payments, your expected returns, any freebie products that you're going to add into there. I'll show you guys in a second. What matters the most is our break-even CAC, our cost to acquire that customer, or what we like to call it, our CAC ceiling. What is the most we're able to spend to acquire this customer without losing money or losing just a slight amount of money? And this goes, our break-even CAC, cost to acquire a customer, equals a contribution margin. I want to spend into what we can afford. So margin to any given CAC target, how much are you able to profit? How much can you keep if I hit this specific CAC target? These are all scenarios we got to run. And thankfully, I have a couple cool little things I can show you guys. So I actually made this custom GPT that you can kind of input. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how this works. It's yours, use it. Give me the feedback. I would love to hear about it. And for any of you guys that are more of like, I'd rather prefer a calculator to plug some numbers in, I got one for you too. So let me kind of dig in real quick. All right, guys. So what you're looking at right here, I'll go into the beginning. So this is a CAC and GPT to kind of build some of the profitability of how you can think this. That way you can have a little bit more conversation with it. There's a little bit of knowledge that I've already kind of plugged into it based on what I've been learning and how I've been running any of our brands and our offers. And so what we talk about, you'll see CAC headroom at different levels, how we calculate the contribution margin of these products, what is my break-even ROAS. So I'll also include a template that you kind of can upload to it. I've already used some dummy data here. So I'm gonna open it up. I'm gonna go into some sample data. And I'm gonna ask, I've uploaded a handful of my products as well as the margins, and I'm curious on what my break-even could be if I spent $500 a day during Black Friday, Cyber Monday. Let's see what it gives. Hopefully this works, because sometimes it doesn't. Okay, so it's already pulled in the data. So it's got my hero jacket, my everyday tee, my weekend bundle. So it's got my price that I'm selling it at, the plain discount, my cost, COGS, cost to ship it, the payment fees, the percentage of it overall, the return rate of the products, the return price per product, potentially a buy now, pay later share price. And so it gives me all the areas. Now you can leave these blanks if it's not going to be an area that you actually care about. And then if there's a cost to include a freebie into this product overall. Here's what's given back to me. So here's the breakdown of your products with discounted prices, net revenue collected, after fees, after returns, after buy now, pay later, your contribution margin, break-even CAC per target, and implied ROAS, return on ad spend, at a different CAC target. So this is awesome. I love this. Is so fun. So you go, here's the key information. So your break-even CAC, so it's going to explain to you as well, all in. So it's telling me that based upon where we're at, awesome. So I'm going to expand this real quick so you guys can see. If I'm pricing my hero jacket at 120, 28, the discounted price if I wanted to do would be about 96 bucks. Overall net collected here is going to be about $84. My contribution margin on selling this jacket specifically about 42. Break even to acquire that customer sitting at 42 as well. Overall ROAS on a $15 spend or a $20 spend or $25. Or sorry, this is the CAC target margin. So it's a 3x at 15, 75, a 3.9. Incredible. So this incredible product for me wanting to play with. Now, if I look at the daily T, here's my price at 28. The discount sitting at 25.2. Overall net collected is about 20 bucks. I'm probably not going to focus on this one because if I look through my contribution margin, my break-even target, it's not there. So my ROAS, I'm unprofitable if I start spending against this one, no matter what I want. So you really want to be leaning towards where your overall margin is per product that you're running against. Makes total sense, right? Limited drop hoodie, net collected, contribution margin about 54%. This is where we want to be playing by. We want the limited hoodie, we want the hero jacket, because we have the higher AOV sitting here. Even the weekend bundle, even though it's a higher AOV and the discounted price, my overall contribution margin, my break even, it's just too expensive for me to spend into it. And so I hope people landing on the website will be able to experience and see it, potentially buy, but I might not want to buy against that on any of my paid ads. Looks like I'm going to be living in the limited drop hoodie area. Now, let's say if you didn't want to go that route, you wanted to kind of build your own sort of like margin profile and calculator. Here's how we do it. So on the left side, you can name this whatever you want to do. It's going to be the holiday bundle. I'll call this Breeze Bundle. My average order value, so AOV, is going to, I'm going to keep it $100, nice and simple. My overall cost of goods sold, so my COGS over here, so this is going to pull in from what my margin is per product. So single product cost. So if you have multiple products in this overall bundle, like I do, so I know I have 3 different SKUs in this overall bundle. Each of those SKUs in those cans, about $5 all in. Cool. So this is actually now going to be 20 bucks. You can update across the board. My payment card processing fees, if you're on Shopify, this is pretty straightforward, pretty standard. Probably I wouldn't touch it, leave it as is, 2.9. Merchant processing fees. So this is generally speaking going to be 30%. So again, this is your credit card fees, this is your processing fees. If you're on Shopify, leave it as is. Your shipping costs, how expensive is it to ship your product? You still need to include, even if you're offering free shipping, that you as the owner and the business owner, you are still paying for that. So it's not free. Pick pack, fulfillment costs, and then your overall return rate costs. So if you have a return rate, for us on beverage, it ranges anywhere between 2 to 6%. I went at 3%. This will be dynamic. If you have a higher one, you use a little bit higher, but it'll kind of bake in what that is. And so that's pulling based off of your overall AOV. So it's kind of nice. So what it'll end up doing is it'll start spitting out what the total cost of the product plus the fulfillment's going to be. That percentage cost, so all in, it's like what it is for you to fulfill that product, and the gross profit margin that you can take on this specific offer. So we're able to build and see, should I run this? Does this make sense for me to sell with? Or can I not make any money on running this stuff? So it's actually super, super helpful, because as you work your way down, a simpler way of looking at this right below it is going to be overall AOV is 100, which you can input. It's going to pull in from the top, but you can touch it if you want. The overall COGS and shipping sits around $35. Gross profit per order. What our break-even ROAS is on the platform, which gives us, our team, the ability to know when to make decisions. What happens at the different margin hits, 10, 15, and 20%. So the more margin hit, the deeper the discount, the higher the ROAS needs to be for us to maintain and save some of the margin. Pretty helpful, really cool. So if I take this information, this will auto update into what can I spend to make as much money as possible. So what this is, I'll zoom out a little bit here so you guys can see it. This is a giant matrix of where spend levels are based upon all costs, Maybe you have some higher costs, some agencies that you can add in here. So you can really get a good idea of like, if I'm spending $10,000 and my return 1.9, that is where I start breaking even. Now, if I'm a 1.4, I'm starting to lose. My break-even point is a 1.6. So it's allowing you to see on a scale, as I spend more money, where do I need to be from an in-account metric? And you have to always, we're gonna have to check ourselves on this, in-account metric to make sure that I'm not losing money. Directional, right? It's a directional where we're gonna be, because we're not spending on 6 or 7 different channels, usually spending on 2 to 3, maybe just 1 at the beginning. So to understand where my break-even ROAS is based upon the product information I produced in this product margin starter or bundle starter gives you a clear idea of where to play with. Then we go into the product margin details. So this one is a little bit of a different breakdown. And what we're gonna do is I'm gonna update this because it's gonna spit out what I think I could spend per orders and the units that are gonna be involved in it. Kind of cool. So if I go into AOV, go back up to $100, cost of goods sold, so all in, similar to the last one, we're gonna go $20. Nice. Credit card fees, yep, 3%, 2.5, this is pulling in. It's gonna be closer, what was it earlier? 2.9%, 290, okay. So $3 is still fine, we're okay. Go $3. Merchant fees stay the same. Shipping costs all in, so I'll go update this. This was, what was on the first one? $10, cool. Pull that in. Oop. Nice round numbers. Fulfillment per order, so $5.50. Management cost, so this would be, you can call this agency cost. Most of us are doing it ourselves, so I'll just leave that blank. All in, $38, pretty similar. Let me just gut check myself earlier. $35.70, so slightly off, okay. For the example that we're looking at, I'm okay with this. Percentage cost all in. Yep, it's about right. Cool, so gross profit margins, I can run this. My goal, I really want this to be above 40% for me to feel confident enough in spending against this. 60, we're in the money, plenty of room to play with. Nice little AOV, get us close to this, awesome. Break even on platform, this is my CAC, cost to acquire a customer for this specific product. What does that look like if I see it across all my cost of goods, a variable ROAS target, a variable digital spend? It's kind of where I want to put it. So based on the numbers we inputted on the left, we're able to see, like, if I have a digital spend across this period of time, you do this at pre-Black Friday, you do this during Black Friday, you do this post-Black Friday. These are the numbers that we are going to go back and forth, and they're going to be dynamic. They are going to change. So for us, let's assume that this is going to be the beginning of the month. So I'm going to do $1,000 a day. So I'm going to go 30,000, 31,000 for October. Numbers will update. So I'm going to pull that across, assuming all the same. And so right below it will be our ROAS. What is our target to make money? So based upon the digital spend, our target of 1, that's the multiplier. The revenue that we can generate is the same, which is actually not true because now we have our cost of goods, gross profit, credit card fees, all baked in. So we've successfully lost $12,000. Nice. We are losing. This means it doesn't work, which means we have to find a way to make this work. Where's the place that we need to get to? It's probably right around here. 1.5, 1.65, 1.65, 1.7, yep, 1.63, 1.64. Right there. This is where we can be. At this dollar spent, at this margin and ROAS, this is the net profit that we can make sure we're breaking even on acquiring these customers, because it brings in all of our cost of goods, the profit that we need, the credit card fees, all the numbers that we need to know to feel confident in making the decisions in our major moment. This is it. And so now this shows at this different AOV, which we're pulling from the product details, the overall transactions are per order profit. Not good enough. So that's why most of us are trying to live in this range, in a 2x, 2.5. So as we start to develop what that offer is and the incentive for them to do, we got to know as close as we can to these numbers. It's pretty fun when you get into thinking through what does it mean to build an incredible offer for these moments. I think you have to think about what is most important for your customers to continue to come back and buy from you? And what is the best product that they can get? So usually this is your hero or your secondary product. But I also know that you need to expand the SKUs and kind of take up more in their closet, take up more in their fridge, take up more in their medicine cabinet, take up more in their car. So how many more complementary products can we get into their hands? That's a lot of the way I like to think about this, because this allows me the confidence to start recommending a secondary or tertiary product that they might not have been interested in unless I put it in front of them at the right offer. Usually, I hate to say it, you do need to do something. You do need to do at least a 20% off site-wide. And if you want to do the free shipping, just make sure you communicate that price, because you will see a conversion increase. You will see a natural amount of purchases happening, because it's just what happens during the time. So even if you just turn over the website and you start labeling some of the creative assets, which we'll talk about in a second, to talk about the moment, pre-Black Friday, Black Friday, holiday season, gifting season, a lot of these will be pretty successful. You'd be surprised.